Research Institutes and Archaeology. Goa University is the only university in the state and specializes in the field of Indo-Portuguese history, maritime studies, and history of Goa in particular. And the Directorate of Archives and Archaeology is a wonderful sustained this intellectual initiative which was taken way back more than 30 years ago. And it is really to the credit of the two institutions that we have collaborated for such a long period of time, and we have provided a platform to both scholars as well as students to discuss and deliberate various issues of our rich and varied heritage, as the chief guest mentioned a little while ago. Now, Goa, though being tiny in size, is very, very rich and multifaceted in terms of its history, in terms of its culture. And Goa has been the subject of scholarly study of many, not just from within the state, but also nationally and internationally as well. Goa is well known both for its natural resources as well as its unique, intangible cultural heritage. And in this morning, in our first session of the seminar, we are indeed privileged to have doyens in the field of local history seminar. We have Dr. Nandkumar Kamat and Dr. Selza Pinto, who have been here right from the outset, and Srimati Lourdes Bravo da Costa, who will also be making a presentation. And you have been associated with the seminar right from the beginning in some capacity or the other, haven't you? Yes. So this is indeed, I mean, it's like, for me, it's a very nostalgic moment going back to those days. I made my very first presentation at that seminar, and I don't want to go down memory lane much as I would love to, and I'm tempted to, but I would like to bring bring you back on board, which is the first session. So our opening batsman, dare I call him as such, is Dr. Nandkumar Kamat. He is absolutely no stranger to us. He needs absolutely no introduction. He's been a towering personality, both literally as well as figuratively, in the field of Goan public life and Goan scholarship as well. And his multifaceted achievements and contributions to our state policy, public policy, as well as to public life has been acclaimed by many, including the Legislative Assembly of Goa, which passed a special congratulatory motion in the month of August acknowledging the achievements of Dr. Kamat. So we have 4 papers, I think Professor Rao, 3 papers? Yeah, 3 papers scheduled for this session. We have the history of gold mining in Goa through the ages by Dr. Nandkumar Kamat and Ms. Sujata Dabolkar. We have the second presentation will be by Dr. Selza Pinto on Bernard Perish da Silva's Dialogo, the genesis of constitutionalism in the Indian subcontinent. And the third presentation will be on intangible traditions of Goa, Tisrache Fest, and its connection to ecology and culture. Goa has been associated with mining through the ages. We've got a long history of mining. And when we talk about mining in Goa, it's generally minerals like manganese and iron ore, and also sand mining. Goa also has in its identity, in its image, a very important factor embedded, which is gold. You know, we have epithets by which Goa was referred to, like Bhangrache Goa, or we have Goa Dorada, that is golden Goa. But the twain, that is mining and gold, have never come together. So for the first time, the two are coming together in the form of this research paper, which is right now going to be presented to you on the history of gold mining in Goa through the ages by Dr. Nandkumar Kamat and Ms. Sujata Dabolkar. May I request Dr. Kamat to please make his presentation.
Good morning, and thanks, Professor Pratima, that we missed 14 seminars. In fact, I thought it will be 34th seminar, but for this reason or other reason, I think we created history by not having 14 seminars. Also, the founders of this whole series of local history seminar, they had vowed that time and resolved that this will be a continuous process, not subjected to small funding amount. And at this moment, both all of us, means all of us who are on this side, because we have been there, we are veterans of this whole series. Some of the students may not have been born also at that time when the seminar was launched. And despite a student of PhD in microbiology, I was invited to present a paper by not less a person than Professor B.S. Shastri, whom we miss very much, as well as let us pay our debt to Professor B. Sheikh Ali.
Yes, true.
Okay, so, and today being the birthday of 18th birth anniversary of the famous numismatist G.H. Khare, and I remember him because he complimented me after presentation of one paper. He was present for one of the local history seminar where I had presented one paper on ecotheology of termite hill, and he was a very fine numismatist. He worked for Bharat Itihas Sanshadhan, Pune. The other famous personality whom I could not wish today and whose birthday also, is important is actor Hrithik Roshan. I couldn't contact him on phone. So this topic is a pioneer topic, and I am here because of the immense effort done in the analysis of gold in Goa. We have created history's first map of gold in Goa, and it is a challenge to anyone in the world. If you give us a sample, within one day we'll tell you how much gold is there, because we have the most sensitive technology developed in our lab to detect minutest amount of gold, and the credit goes to my student Sujata Dabolkar, who is going to present next year her PhD thesis on biomining of gold. Basically, why the paper came out, because the hypothesis is very simple. I have done enough studies in ancient Goan history, and not only the studies, but the empirical evidence that we have got today is of two types. One is field archaeology. So this is a presentation on metallo-archaeology, or archaeology of metals and mining. Very few studies are there in India on metals and mining. I request Sujata Dabolkar to put the map of gold occurrences in India. This is an authentic map of gold occurrences in India, and generally what people believe is gold means you have to mine it out by crushing the rocks. Always remember that 3 parts per million or 3 grams per 1000 kilogram is economically exploitable quantity of gold. 3 ppm we call it. Anything above that is highly profitable. So we have in the beaches of Goa 0.3 grams per 1000 kilogram of sand. In the soil, including Goa University, if you get me 500 grams of soil in Goa University, I will give you a few milligrams of gold back. And deeper you go, there are more richer deposits of gold in Goa University, and all over Tiswadi we have found now appreciable amount of gold. Then 1 gram per ton or ppm is all over Goa we find the concentration of gold in soil, analyzed with the finest of the instrumentation in the best of the lab in India. Then comes our iron ore, which is being exported, on which I have given a detailed confidential report to Chief Minister and Minister of Mines, Mr. Manohar Parrikar, with all the analysis, all the location, where gold is found, how much is found, what is to be done, what is not to be done, on 23rd July 2017 at his residence in a special meeting. All those details I will not tell you, because I am speaking here as world's richest person today who has the knowledge of where to find gold, what is the concentration, and how to take it out. But I am not talking for myself, I am talking for my nation, and I am presenting before you the rich tradition of gold mining in Goa. And the hypothesis is very simple. As Professor Pratima has pointed out, and she has also worked on Goa Dovrada and its glorious days and all, and many of them, they have the records how rich was old Goa city in the 16th century. It was 8th largest city that time, and it was an emporium of the trade in the whole Asia. Now, if you look at the trade routes development, except Nayanjot Lahiri and say Dilip Chakravarti and few of these Dubey from IIT Kanpur, we have all the literature in our hands today. All necessary books are there. Exhaustive bibliography Sujata Dabolkar has prepared for her thesis. And when we look at the trade routes, when we look at the Silk Route, when we look at maritime commerce, trade, transoceanic, this one contacts, we know Zambezi Valley gold production was there, Saudi Arabia gold mines are there, Egypt has a long tradition of artisanal gold mining. So all these countries we explore, and then we see here on the west coast there is something very important, and that has escaped the notice of even the archaeologist. Because there is hardly any archaeology happening in India because of the lack of investment in many places. And no major or serious archaeological excavation has ever taken place in state of Goa that I can remember after liberation. Okay, so having said this, now let me come to the hypothesis, and then few points I will present because there is a big paper to be presented. And I don't like being a scientist to read papers because we don't read papers but we present papers. So second slide you may please put. So this is the wealth of India and Goa, metallogenic province. So if you think of metals and their history, you can have a monoculture, means you think only of one metal, history of iron ore mining, history of manganese mining, history of copper mining. But when you think of polymetals, you have to think of what type of metals are found in any given state, and we find here gold is a very important metal that is found in what is known as world's oldest rock formation. That is the Western Dharwad Craton. Means some of world's oldest rocks you can see in the Geology Museum of our university, and you can see them, actually touch them on Goa-Karnataka border known as transigenic gneiss. Then you can see Chandranath granite, Paulem granite, Dudhsagar granite. All these are very ancient crust of the earth. And when this ancient crust was formed, it locked up gold. And what happens is over millions of years of torrential, that catastrophic activities, erosion takes place, chemical, physical weathering takes place. Rivers flow over these rocks and they leach out what is known as the gold particles which are locked up, and then they find their way into the soil, sand, everywhere. And this is what we estimate, we call it secondary gold. So all along the west coast, people had the knowledge from ancient period, from imperial Mauryan period, from Satavahana period, which carried out active trade with Roman Empire through Greek navigators, through Abyssinians, through Yemenis and all. Further, you will have lot of information about minting of the beautiful gold coins of Badami Chalukyas, Devgiri Yadavas, Imperial Rashtrakutas, Rattas, Cholas, Pandyas, Cheras, and most important, some of the finest gold coins come from Goa Kadambas in entire coinage, gold coinage history, numismatic history of South Asia. When we look at the source of gold, we come to know that there wouldn't have been enough gold to produce those many coins, Padmatankas, Gadyanas and all, which the Kadambas minted, and naturally they are Goa Kadamba coins and not Hangal Kadamba coins or Chandavar Kadamba coins. They are Goa Kadamba coins, and Goa Kadamba coins came from the gold which was locally sourced. So Buddhists were not here to convert, very few of the Goans here. They were here to create capital for supporting their transoceanic voyages to Sri Lanka and Southeast Asia. That is our hypothesis. All the rock cut caves, Brahminic caves, they were all cut by ancient alchemist or metallurgist. So go to the next slide, please. So the next slide shows the whatever analytical knowledge we have about the proof. We have to produce scientific proof, because for last 10 years I am throwing pearls before pigs in Goa. Today I am throwing some pearls here in Goa University. Next slide. So these are the sources of gold found in Goa. You have soil, you have sand, you have laterite. Like the Goa University laterite has a high concentration of gold. Earthworm soil, even earthworms, what they do is they ingest lot of soil and they concentrate gold, and when you examine the soil you find gold. Then stream sediment, all Western Ghats stream have 14 grams per metric ton of gold, and they are all protected areas, so nobody can touch that. So those were the sources which were exploited by various dynasties. Next. So this is the map of first map, it is under publication, where we show 14 ppm, 8 ppm, 6 ppm, all plateaus have 6 ppm and coastlines have 3.3 ppm of gold. And anything above 3 ppm is economically exploitable. Now, this has been presented to the mining stakeholder, Now what I have to present is how old is the tradition. So major periods of gold mining you can see from right from Arthashastra period. Go to next slide. So these are the spots where we wanted to superimpose various historic locations, ancient locations, Surla caves, Rivana caves, then Khandepar caves, then Lamgaon caves, and some of the coastal locations, and then we decided to take samples and then we analyzed those, and we found concentration of gold there, and it became very clear to us because we searched Kudnem area, we searched Arvalem area, we took the samples from those areas and we found that all those people, they were actually panning for gold from the river sediment or sand, and it is there everywhere. So even if the whole class of history department goes there and we hold a camp under Professor Pratima Kamat, we can come out enriched with few milligrams of gold, which is quite substantial, and the whole history department can have its whole budget supported by Dr. Kamat's this one. I mean, I'm not joking. Actually, you can visit our lab and anytime Sujata Dabolkar can demonstrate how it is. Next. So gold is leached out like this from the rocks. Next. So sands of Kiranpani, Devsu, Konadi, Bagat, Kolwal, Nanoda, Ozran, Kamurli, Virdi, Juve, Santiste, all these places, you know, that we have examined the samples. We have huge sample collection and we have a huge database of gold. Next. So this is how when you mine it, because what is important is the density of gold is 20 grams per cc, which is 3 times the iron. It is 20 times the water, so it is very heavy metal. That's why, and it is the only metal in the whole universe which never gets oxidized. That's why my wife gave me this chain, and I told her that either before my death or after your death, I will carry on as long as I am alive or you are alive. And that is the only gold I have got. I have nothing else than this. This is the only gold I possess. So you can see next. Why this idol came there? Because there was quite a sizable settlement of Buddhist metallurgists, ancient Buddhist metallurgists, who are known as Panusudarak. Next, at Mushir Kolwa. And Kolwa has 6 grams of gold per metric ton. Next. This is what you find in Kolwal sand, teeming with gold, those quartz particles. Next. And pure gold particles also. These are plentiful. If you go down and see the yellow sands of Taligaon, you will come out with lots of these gold particles. It is just a matter of few hours that you can separate these gold particles. I don't know why they are having construction there instead of mining gold. Next. So next. So Bhunaga, in ancient Indian alchemy, we found also that most probably the ancient Goan metallurgists could have used during the Buddhist period and the Brahminic period. Means I am covering a period, pre-Portuguese period. Please don't mistake me. The full pre-Portuguese period, I am not reading the full long paragraphs here because I have assured Professor Pratima Kamat, who is looking at me now for passing time, that within 30 minutes I will finish, and please give a bell when 5 minutes are left, madam, so that I can wind up very fast. Next. So that Rasa Shastra, we have alchemy or Rasa Shastra where bhasmas were produced. So they used to even use earthworm to enrich metal, and then they used to use those metals for various purposes. Next. This is you find in the soil which is excavated by the earthworms and regurgitated and deposited by the earthworm. Very pure, nice, beautiful gold particles. Next. Then we analyzed them and then we found what was the concentration in mining area of South Goa, North Goa and all those, and these particles clearly indicate. Next. Next. And this is electron microscope. We have got a powerful electron microscope. When you put the sample, we get the details of these gold particles which are actually deposited by the earthworms. So it looks like that earthworms are more intelligent in Goa than all of us. Next. Then artisanal alluvial gold. This is very important in the whole history of gold mining in Goa. I can sum up in one sentence that this is the first paper that we are presenting, where we have chronologically traced the Buddhist as well as Tantric contribution in Goa by erecting various settlements and various types of caves, rock cut caves and all, Khandepar, Surla, Rivana, Lamgaon. They were not meant for any type of simple worship in the forested areas. There was an economic purpose, there was a commodity purpose, and there was a metallurgical purpose. This has been overlooked because lack of archaeological evidence doesn't mean scientists will not go there and find out indirect empirical evidence of what exactly they were doing it, and we found gold there. So Hiranyavana became Rishivana. Zambavana became Zambavli. You see Son Sagar, we found gold there, Hill in Sattari. So now we found lot of gold in Kuem, Dudhsagar area. I cannot tell you, but it is protected area. And we cannot disclose also because all of you will rush there tomorrow and have picnic and try, that this is the figure. And actually I was very reluctant to present this paper here, but because I came to know that Professor Nandkumar Kamat is chairing, I opted to present it. Next. Then you see vermiform gold, next. And this is what in 2010 when I found in the 65-meter deep core samples taken from this island, people couldn't believe me. They were saying only how only you could find it. Now this is very, very interesting question. How only you could find it? This is a very funny question. How only USA could land astronauts on moon? Why not India or China, or why not Pakistan? It is like this type of questioning. Nobody asks the miners what exactly they are exporting in the name of iron ore. It's the same question. Have you seen the research paper of Dr. Nandkumar published in any peer-reviewed journal? Nobody asked him. So what is the iron content? Next. So this is what she has done for PhD. Her work is biomining, means how to remove this gold using bacteria. So we have got a powerful culture collection, and we are now following the directions which are given to us, evidence which has been led by these alluvial gold miners, Buddhist and Brahminist, Tantric. All along Goa, we are retracing their footsteps, and that's why I am here to give you the historical perspective as well as the scientific perspective in the best tradition of D.D. Kosambi, so that we can have a very objective look at history instead of simply, building up myths and legends and passing this off as history of Goa. Next. So this is what, we have more than 100,000 photographs of this type of gold particles. Now world's largest collection we have got, and we have got consultation with one of the best gold biochemist in the world, Professor Frank Reith from University of Adelaide. Next. Thousands. So, that nothing is left means I can see now as a sort of a, tantric sitting on the banks of Arvalem waterfall, what I am doing there. I can envision that. Or at Kudnem, what I could be doing it, because gold coins were found by Pisulekar in Kudnem area. So entire Kundanpur means processed gold. That is what we found. The entire complex, Arvalem Kundanpur complex, was ancient metallurgical center. Next. So finally I come and conclude this. And please, may I have the lights on, because I have to read at least one last paragraph, and permit me to conclude with that. Where was the source of gold? Of course, we couldn't get the sample because now India's all this cultural heritage, numismatic heritage is being auctioned by Sotebais and all those big auctioning companies, and it is very shocking, tragic that we can't even get a small scrap of the gold coin for analysis of their gold isotopes and other things to really date and check, because if you compare the gold content of any gold coin with the gold content in Goa and the impurities there, because you see that 24 karat gold means 100% pure gold. 22 karat means the other 2 carats come from impurities like copper or silver or both. So gold impurities are only copper and silver. So if we compare, next. So these are Satavahana coins, very pure coins. They got also from other parts in India, alluvial gold for this. Next, in kilograms they got it. Thousands of people were working all along the rivers. Badami Chalukyas, they were definitely mining, people were mining from the rivers, including Western Ghats rivers. Next, very pure gold coins. Best, the coins, I'll tell you, we have studied lots of gold coinage from other parts of the world, but there is no match to Kadamba gold coins. Next. These are beautiful coins. Next. Kadamba coins with a lion. Then full catalog we have produced here of Kadamba coins from different locations. Next. So you see there, 2 lakh, if you have 2,44,693 rupees today, right now on eBay you can purchase this coin. Anybody has 2,44,643 rupees? Okay, you can. So this is how our wealth is being, auctioned. And I don't have a sample. If anybody can donate me a coin, I'll be able to give you more analytical data. Next. This is a very interesting quirky coin, because I don't see most of the dynasties coming out with the U-shaped coins. Why Shilaharats produce these coins of this shape? I mean, that is for you people to investigate. Okay, so if you investigate, you may find some reason for this, because there was an active maritime trade with the Arabian Peninsula that time, and Hanjamanas or Arabian settlements were also settled during Imperial Rashtrakutas period, and Shilaharas were feudatories of Imperial Rashtrakutas, and later Devgiri Yadavas. Next, Devgiri Yadav was also beautiful, and they had lots of sources of primary and secondary gold. Next, Bahamanis. Bahamanis, I have no idea whether Bahamani rule was for only 30 years in Goa, but they also minted some of the finest gold coins. Next, Vijayanagara, I am really impressed by the coinage of gold coinage of Vijayanagara, and for almost from 1380 to 1472, 92 years, Vijayanagara were very much interested not only import of horses from the ports in Goa, but they were also interested in the gold that was mined from Goa, and that is the reason they made Goa the capital of the entire Konkan. And in fact, the inscription of Madhav Mantri clearly says this: Goa Bidam Konkana Chakra Konkana Rajadhanim, means Goa in a copper plate inscription. It is clearly written of 14th century. Goa Bidam Konkana Rajadhanim. Goa is the capital of Konkan administrative province between 1380 to 1472. Why? Why? Because we had beautiful forests, lots of birds, lots of biodiversity, and the Vijayanagara emperor simply came here for picnic and said, Goa Bidam Konkana Rajadhanim. Never. They were here for gold and horses and trading communities. Like they used to export sandalwood, they used to export peacocks, elephants, ivory tusks. All these records are available. Next, these are different emperors, Ramaraya and all those, Harihara and all. I won't go into details because, you know, Adil Shah, they also were here for a few years. I think around 38 years they ruled Goa, parts of Goa. And finally, we have these references which I have used for the paper, and finally I will conclude with the permission of our honorable chairperson. I don't wish to reveal, because the biggest problem is we have made China very powerful, and China today has only one friend in the world. We are friends of China because we give them a lot of gold. Okay, and they are very happy. You will see that you won't find any Chinese hating Goans. They will be hating non-Goan Indians. But they know that their power comes from gold which they have extracted from iron ore, which was exported from Goa. So I don't wish to reveal the quantity of exploitable objects of Goa. Now what we didn't want to open a Pandora's box. She went to Norway and participated on the invitation of Nature magazine. And the Norwegian said, we did not know that there is gold in iron ore. Now we are also looking into it. Sujata Dabolkar, please give her a big hand, because she is the first PhD scholar of Goa University to go to Norway, participate in international conference, interact with Geological Survey of Norway, and validate all the results which she had presented there. So this is the reality. There she gave the clear picture. In IIT Goa also, recently she was invited, where she presented. Banaras Hindu University also, she went and presented. So basically, what is the picture? We are, Professor Kamat, I'll tell you, we are following Portuguese policy. I will, with your due permission, end this. What was the Portuguese policy, Professor Kamat and distinguished delegates, students and teachers, please listen. This was the Portuguese policy. Okay? A colossal national loss considering present economic recession. So the Portuguese policy has been described aptly by famous 16th century Dutch traveller Jan Huygens van Linschoten, who had visited Goa in 1583 and wrote an account of his travel. Because he will ask me, if you know so much, you have so much information, student is working for PhD, you are richest person in the world, she is second richest person in the world, you know, and you are all now, I have given you my secret, so please keep it to yourself, because the moment it comes out, the Dawood gang people will be after you, they may even, you know, anything is possible. So please keep a big, you know, non-golden lead over this knowledge, and you must all assure me. Are you assuring?
Yes.
Exactly. So it may be within this one. Sorry. I'll finish. The Voyage of John Huygens van Linschoten to East Indies, published for the first time in English in 1885. He had returned in 1583 after touring Goa. The land itself is a very stony and dry, having a kind of red earth, so that some Italian alchemists have promised to get copper and gold out of the same, which neither the king nor viceroy would ever consent unto, fearing lest the report of such treasure would be occasion of greater trouble unto them by their enemies that are around them. The Portuguese king and his viceroy in Goa were scared of a gold rush and attack from enemies. The same concerns continue, but the facts are Facts. Even without a gold rush, Goa is losing gold and exporting ores with gold content. The answer to a possible question of how we found gold in BHQ ore rejects is simple. You need not specifically look for gold with an open mind and not from purely miners and engineers or geologists or a geochemist angle. So we have done literature survey, we have done field work, we have done empirical analytical work to get hard publishable data. 4 papers are in pipeline. One has gone to a big peer-reviewed journal called Geomicrobiology, where she has reviewed all the techniques of mining, and within 6 months she is coming out with a benchtop technique to mine gold from the low-grade iron ore and all other types of gold-containing material. And you should be proud of these achievements because we are not asking anything from ourselves. We are basically knowledge-hungry people. We have created a little more new knowledge in our department, and I am happy to share it with you here in an interdisciplinary manner so that we all benefit through our inter-exchange and also the ideas that could be generated for subsequent research which is required in this century, which I am very sure belongs to India and belongs to all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, Dr. Kamat and Ms. Dabolkar. Friends, I'm sure you will agree with me that the opening batsman of our seminar has not only scored a 6 but bowled us over and has won the match for us. It was indeed a most glittering presentation, Dr. Kamat, and thank you ever so much for the same. And I think it goes to the credit of Goa University's intellectual base that the 20th local history seminar was opened for, in terms of its academic session, by a microbiologist who is doing this very, very interesting research in the field of biomining. May I now throw the paper open for discussion? Would that be okay? Yeah? Because it's so fascinating. I'm sure you have a lot of questions to ask. What particularly appealed to me was the chronology which he presented and the contributions of the Buddhists and the Tantrics to metallurgy and the linkages between these sites, the cave temples that we know of and the gold mining sites, and the kind of research that they are doing right now in the field of biomining. Any questions? I think, Dr. Kamat, everybody is stunned by your 24-carat presentation.
There is a fear. Because
why?
There is a fear because, there are people, bad people outside.
Yeah, that's true.
Even she is taking a lot of risk. We
I
are
know.
all under this one.
I can imagine.
Yeah,
Yes,
it
yes.
is.
True.
It's a risky area of risk.
Okay,
Absolutely.
can we take questions later after
Yeah.
the presentation?
Okay, fine.
Because we are running out of time.
Okay, fine, sure. Can we move on? Once again, our thanks to Dr. Kamat and Ms. Dabolkar for their path-breaking presentation today on gold mining in Goa through the ages. And now, may I move on to the next speaker of this session, a doyen in the field of Indo-Portuguese history, who has served as the Director of Education in our state of Goa, Dr. Selza Pinto. She will be enlightening us today on a very famous personality of our past situated in